Good morning, Internet. This is the Old Fat Dad, and welcome back to another beautiful day on the Goober Nation gun range. Today we're going to look at this teeny tiny little sight from Olight. One of the things that Olight has done really well over the years is marketing, and I would throw packaging in there as well. The little Osight K comes in this sweet little box, and it's packed full of all sorts of nice stuff, and a nice little message from the company there. I'm not a big, unboxer here, but there is a nice foam in there. There's a bunch of tools. I've already opened this, obviously. One of the things we can get from the front of it, though, which they lay out pretty well, is exactly what it is and what you get. So it is a 6 MOA dot, and it comes in the RMSC footprint, which is actually really helpful. I've noticed that some of these other companies that sell you red dots, they're not really clear about what footprint it is. You got to kind of look it up, so I appreciate they put that up front. The unique thing, at least for Olight though, about this sight is that it doesn't have a rechargeable battery. That's one of the things that Olight's been doing forever. They have their own proprietary stuff. Usually it was built right in, sealed. You couldn't change the battery. You had to use one of their chargers. And that's been one of the big, I don't know if it's a problem, but one of the things that people didn't really love about the brand is you didn't have any option to use anything but their chargers, and the battery was sealed. So this is a big change for them, because this takes a battery. It takes a regular old CR 1620 battery, which is neat. I like when companies change and innovate and listen and give people what they're asking for. So this comes with a little side tray, which is actually my preferred way of getting a battery out of here. Is it showing you? There it is, right there. Out of these red dots, I'm going to show you a different red dot that's actually in the same footprint that uses a different kind of tray here. They have that tray on this one that screws out of the top there, and you probably see I've attempted to get the battery out, and I have gotten the battery out a couple of times on this thing, and it chews up really quickly there. It's hard to get a tool in there to get it out without tearing it up a good bit, and it's not the easiest angle. You can see it's kind of blocked by the shield when you put it vertically to get it out of there. But either of those are preferable to the kind that put the battery on the bottom. I know that's the best way to shrink a sight down, but it just irritates me irrationally. I hate that setup. I don't know why. It's probably because I've dumped batteries into the ground tons of times. I can't always get them to seat well. I love a door over a battery on the bottom side. I don't even know what it's called, but anyways, I don't like it. So the Osight does come with a cool little pill tray full of all of the different screws you might need, and a sweet little tool to screw them in there with a scary face on it. That was kind of funny, but it does have a flat head on one side to adjust the sights, and then one of those T whatever screws on the back side so that you can screw your little sight down on your gun. All right, last feature I want to highlight about the Osight before we start shooting and mess around with it are the windage and elevation adjustments. It's right there, and it doesn't look super special, but maybe my microphone can pick this up. Hopefully it can. I'm going to adjust it and let's see if we can hear. Can you hear that? Those are actually well-defined clicks for every adjustment you make, which is not what you usually get with these red dots. I'm going to get the Vortex Defender back up here, and I'm going to adjust it here, and let's see if you can hear anything. I know you can't because it just kind of spins. So there may be just the slightest little bump when you're spinning the Vortex, but it's almost impossible to hear or feel your adjustments, whereas I was really surprised and happy to see that the Osight actually has clicks for its adjustments. So that's pretty neat. All right, let's put this on a gun. Let's shoot, let's test it out, let's beat it up and see if it's worth a crap. We're about 7 yards away from our target. I've got the Taurus TX22 sighted in. I'm pretty sure I'm not the best shooter in the world, so please forgive me if my groups aren't the best. I'm going to shoot at the bottom right-hand dot here. We're going to take a look at our group just to verify that we are sighted in, and then we'll abuse this thing a little bit and see if it still holds our 0. So here we go. We'll do 3 shots. Wow. Okay, so I danced around the target a little bit. Let's see. You can see, I didn't do the best job in the world there. There you go. That's my 3 shots dancing around the dot there. So not the best in the world. I think I was definitely scaring the pants off that dot. All right, so let's beat up the red dot a little bit and see if it holds that 0. All right, let's drop this guy a couple times on the ground. Let's say from about shoulder height onto a piece of wood. Okay, all right, that's not too bad. Left a little dent in my wood. Some grass on it. Let's go again. Here we go. I got a good bounce out of that. What do you say? One more time for 3. Let's see how she does. Okay, send it flying. Actually held up pretty good. I don't see any kind of scuffing or dents. Looks pretty slick still. Let's shoot it, see if it still shoots. Back at 7 yards, got the red dot remounted, bottom left-hand corner this time. Let's see if I can shoot a little better, and let's see if we still are zeroed. Okay, I was nervous the first time, okay? That's why it was such a crappy group. I'm gonna tell you, it's either that or we managed to increase the accuracy by dropping it. But let's take a look at this one. So we had the bottom left-hand corner, and you're gonna see that on the bottom right-hand corner, I was a little pissed off about my poor performance. So that's the rest of the mag in that one. I got a little bit better on target with that one. But over here, here's our 3 there. We tightened it up a good bit, and we got one right on the dot. So I'm gonna say that one, oh, excuse me, that's pretty good. We're still on target, but that was really the easiest test. Let's do something a little bit more difficult for this red dot. Okay, this is probably one of my dumbest ideas here, but I'm still gonna do it because I'm curious to see what happens. So I've got a can of dog food, and I'm gonna put the Osight on top of the can of dog food, and then I'm gonna shoot the can of dog food with the 5.56. And for those of you who don't know what usually happens when you shoot a can of dog food with 5.56, it kind of explodes everywhere. So this will be like some pretty serious G-force testing. That's what it is, G-force testing on the Osight here. Let's see what happens. Okay, we are still at 7 yards. The can's, where is that can at? Somewhere in there. It's in there somewhere. Hopefully you can see it, tiny little dot. I'm gonna shoot it with, the can with the 5.56. The red dot's on top of the can, and the offset is such that I pretty much have to put the red dot right on the the Osight, so it's a little nerve-wracking. We might end up ending this video real soon if my offset's off here, but let's give it a shot. Oh man, it didn't blow up like I wanted it to. Might have to do that one more time. Okay, I got a can in front of the can, so maybe now we can get this bullet to tumble a little bit and blow up the can in the back, which is the can that the Osight's on. This will get us some good results, I'm sure of it. There we go. That was a good explosion. I have no clue where the Osight went. Let's go see what happened. I was honestly hoping for a little bit more explosive results on the can with the 5.56. I gotta bring hollow points next time. Those full metal jackets just don't do the trick. But the Osight is still alive, still functioning. Let's see if we got a red dot in there. Can we see the red dot? Kinda hard to focus, but it's still on. Is it still zeroed is the big question. Let's fire off a couple rounds, find out. Okay, Osight K is remounted. We're gonna go to the upper left-hand dot this time with 3 more shots, and we're gonna see if we still have a 0. So here is our 3-shot group. 1, 2, 3. That was actually my sighter for the 5.56. So it looks like it's pretty good still. We're still hitting pretty good. Got one little off there. That might have been me. I don't know. What do you think? Is that pretty good? I think it's pretty decent. We had a pretty good time messing around with that Osight K, doing some silly tests. But I know what you're asking. What about a 9mm? How does it handle a 9mm? Or a 12 gauge. How does that handle a 12 gauge? Well, the answer to both those things is that we handle it just fine. It's perfectly sighted in even after shooting the 9mm and the 12 gauge. So I would have no problem putting it on either one of those calibers. I feel pretty comfortable saying that the Osight K can handle a typical recoil and even some weird scenarios like maybe getting shot off the top of a can of dog food. All right, so let's wrap this up by looking at the glass and the dot, and I'm going to use our Vortex Defender here to compare it to, so you got something to compare it to. Let's see if I can get a good picture of the dot first. All right, this is a pretty good shot of what that 6 MOA dot looks like, and this is the Osight K. It's a nice clean dot. It doesn't have any weird jitters, tracking pretty well. There's no dead spots around the glass. And here is the 3 MOA dot on the Vortex Defender, and I don't know if you guys can see this, but to my eyes in real life, it has a little bit of weird jitter. I'm not sure how to describe it, but it doesn't feel as smooth as the Osight K. Next up, we'll look at the glass. So right away, you can see that the window on the Vortex is a good bit larger than the window on the Osight. So if you like a bigger picture, I guess you want to call it, bigger window, the Vortex is the way to go. I'm going to get behind the camera again. Let's see if we can look through these and get a good idea what the glass looks like. So here is the picture through the Osight, and it has that typical bluish greenish tint that a lot of red dots have. It looks really nice and clear to me. A little bit of distortion around the edges, but very functional, very good looking to my eye. And here's that Vortex Defender, and I think it's a pretty obvious difference as far as the size of the window. That Vortex does have a much bigger window. And you know, I would maybe even say that the glass around the edges maybe is a slight bit less fishy-eyed, but it's almost negligible, the difference as far as the fish-eye goes. Finally, what are you gonna pay for this thing? So I think their MSRP, if I'm reading this correctly, is gonna be $159 for the Osight K. There's going to be a bigger version, I believe it's the Osight C, and that's going to be for a full-size setup, RMR footprint, and that will be $179. When this releases, I'll have a code down below for 20% off on the Osightstore and on Amazon. So if you do think that this is something that you want, feel free to use my code, get that 20% off, which will drop it down about, what, 30, 40 bucks. So you're in that $130 range for the Osight K. This is a crowded field. There's a lot of good red dot sights that kind of fill the same niche. And I do think the Osight K is a good contender. Is it competitive for the price? Well, just bringing us back to the Vortex Defender CCW, it does have a bigger window. It looks like it's a bit chonkier, a little bit more robust of a build, but it's also over 200 bucks normally. I think you can look it up on Amazon. It's like 230 bucks right now. So that is a good bit more expensive. It's $100 more. Holosun has a lot of offerings. I think those usually sit in that $200 range as well. And then you can find some of the other Amazon brands that are going to be around that $100, $150 mark as well. Do they have the features of the Osight? You'll have to check that for yourself. This has shake awake, It has low battery signals. It's got you know, a nice dot. It's got a lot of nice features that held up pretty well in our testing. I like the clicks, so it's got a lot going for it. So you know, do your research, poke around, see if that's a good fit for you. I like it. I did get it for free, so I mean that's always makes it a lot easier to like something. I will pick on one thing though. There's one thing I really was not a huge fan of. The side buttons are just a little bit hard to work with. They're kind of indented in there, and getting a good positive click can be difficult. I don't have giant gorilla hands, but I think I wear like a extra large glove size, and my fingers really just had a hard time getting in there and pressing those buttons. With Shake Awake, are you going to be pushing those buttons very often? Probably not, but it's just something to consider if you like fiddling with buttons. It doesn't have the best buttons on the side. And that's about all I've got for you today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.